Welcome back to the shop. I'm almost done with this little integral bolster hunting knife here. So I figured today I'd take a little break on working on this and start working on the sheath for it instead. I'm going to be working with this veg tan leather. It's about a little over 1/16 of an inch thick. I think it's going to pair nicely with the wood on this handle. This is a spalted maple, by the way. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take a big block cut to isolate the material that I need. Now we have a much more usable piece here without all this extra garbage. The next thing I'm going to do is find a center line where this spine is going to rest in the middle of the sheath, and then carve out a divot for the spine to sit into. This is an edge beveler, which really isn't the proper tool to be doing this with, but it's the closest thing I have and it gets the job done. So, oh well. Now you can see this groove basically allows the spine to have a place to sit while the rest of the sheath folds around it. It also makes it easier for the sheath to fold in half without kinking up the other side. The next thing I need to do is go ahead and mark where the edge of the blade is going to sit against the leather so I can add a margin for stitching and go ahead and cut that out. Making sure to line up the edge of the bolster here with the edge of the leather because I want it to sit right in there on the transition. Now I'm going to go ahead and darken up those lines so they're a little bit more visible. And I'm going to use the dividers here to add about maybe 3/8 of an inch for stitching. I'm going to darken up those lines as well so I can see them better. I'm going to go ahead and take them all the way down to the tip as well. Now is a good time to add my welting as well, which is going to be the piece of leather which sits in between the two pieces of the sheath, which gives the blade some space so it doesn't cut through all the threads. So I'm going to mark my edge here on this piece. And then come with the dividers at the same setting and give myself 3/8 of an inch as well. Now that it's marked, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, being very careful to stay on the lines. It's a good score cut. I'm going to come back and cut through all the way. I'm going to leave a little bit of a block here so I can match it up perfectly with the spine of the sheath. now we see if they match up, and it looks like it's going to be just perfect right there. Now I take some of this leather cement and spread it on the welt before I glue it down to the sheath itself.
That's a lot.
So while I let this set for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the strap to hold this on the belt. So I've got a 7-inch strap here, and I'm going to use this chisel to go ahead and cut the corners off of each side. Now I'm going to use this edge beveler the proper way to bevel the edges. Alright, now that this is all set up, I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess on this side and then remark on this side to make sure everything matches up nicely, and trim that as well. Okay, the marks are pretty much exactly in the same spot as before, so I'm good to go ahead and trim that off. I'm now going to mark 3/4 of an inch on both sides of my strap, so I know exactly where to put it on the sheath. I'm using this razor blade to rough up the surface of the leather a little bit so that the cement has something to kind of grab onto. Now I'm going to add a wee dollop of cement to the leather and put her on. Next I'm going to use a saddle stitch to go ahead and attach this strap to the sheath. And now we just rinse and repeat on this side. Now, because I forgot to do this step sooner, I'm going to go ahead and make a radius around these corners to make everything look nicer. Now I'm finally going to glue up the welt and the second piece, so I got to go ahead and rough up this surface. Now I'm going to clamp this up in the vise with 2 pieces of leather on the jaws to protect the sheath from any damage. Alright, now that it's all glued up, the only thing left to do is drill some holes and sew it all up. I'm going to use this stitching spacer to go ahead and give me some scribes for the holes. Alright, the final step is just to bevel these edges and then I'll be done.